Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Riley McManus. Some big ticket items were on last night's agenda at Thunder Bay City Hall. Nearly $5 million was approved for rehabilitation work at Fort William Stadium. And City Council also voted to spend up to $170,000 to explore Soccer Northwest indoor turf proposal. Vasilios Bellos reports.
Thunder Bay City Council tackled some big items of community interest Monday night, which once again included the indoor turf facility. Council approved $170,000 to assess Soccer Northwest's newest proposal next to the community auditorium. The extensive work includes a Phase 1 environmental site assessment, development of a floor plan, a third-party cost estimate, and more. Some councilors, including Rajay Agrawal, look to ensure the city wouldn't commit the full $170,000 if the environmental assessment brought up issues. City administration confirmed they would report to council if any problems arose, with Agrawal concerned the land was previously used as a garbage dump.
You spend money, you have to invest money. You can't get all your reports for no cost. You need to do one step and then say, oh, is there a break here? We stop here, or we go further. And you do your studies that are needed to make your decisions to go further or not to go proceed. If we find the environmental one, which is, we know there was a dump site there, so there can be contaminants, probably.
Council also approved $4.9 million for rehabilitation work on Fort William Stadium. The contract was awarded to LTL Contracting Limited and will include the replacement of the venue's rubber track, artificial playing field, and a brand new LED scoreboard. To keep costs within the budget, the replacement of the field lighting was removed from the contract, with city staff calling the stadium lights functional but inefficient. Councillor Andrew Folds was on board with the rehabilitation work, stressing the importance of maintaining a facility like this.
Williams Stadium gets used a lot by community groups, by boards of education, and we need to make sure that it's safe and that the facility allows those athletes to excel. I'm happy to make that kind of investment in kids. I'd much rather them be out active, physically active, exercising, than at home on their phones. So I'm happy that we were able to make that investment this evening.
The city is not on the hook for the full cost of the Fort William Stadium rehabilitation, with the NOHFC contributing $1.2 million and FedNor chipping in $500,000. Vasilios Bellos, TBT News.
A Thunder Bay man has been charged with attempted murder after an incident on the 300 block of St. Vincent Avenue at around 7:30 last night. City police say the male victim was involved in an argument with another man that was known to him. The confrontation became physical and an edged weapon was used to attack the victim, who was then sent to hospital. The suspect, 46-year-old Stephen Byron Kelly, appeared in bail court today and remains in police custody with a future court date. With frigid temperatures hitting Thunder Bay this week, concerns about the city's vulnerable population are increasing by the day. Fortunately, the care bus operated by Norwest Community Health Center is back on the road and just in the nick of time. The Warming Center on Wheels received funding from the DSAB, which will allow it to offer transportation, supplies, and shelter to those in need for a third winter in a row. Mike Lang has the story.
Earlier in the fall, there was growing concern that not enough funding would be available for the care bus to operate this winter season. But the DSAB approved $50,000 for Norwest Community Center in late November, and now, as temperatures dip below -10, the care bus is back on the roads this week. Norwest CEO Juanita Lawson says many organizations stepped up to the plate.
District Social Services Administration Board were able to fund it, as well as we received a micro grant through the Dr. Peters Center, City of Thunder Bay Drug Strategy, and then also we received funding through Lakehead Social Planning Council, Reaching Homes. We're always grateful to receive support, as from funders. We are not an organization that does this in isolation. And we couldn't do this without our community partners who have rallied around us.
The care bus, also known as the Warming Center on Wheels, transports those in need to different shelters around town while offering them water, warm clothes, and other supplies that they may not be able to access. Over the last 2 winters, the care bus and its staff provided rides or shelter to over 5,700 individuals, offered health care and social services to over 800 people, and distributed harm reduction supplies to another 700. Lawson says Norwest is looking forward to offering those services to individuals in need again this winter.
It's a mobile service that they can sleep and have some, a safe place for them to rest for a little while. And as well, then I think just the ability to see what people also need on an ongoing basis. So it's really that transportation, but also that connection to services and meeting immediate needs in a timely manner in a winter where, it's extreme cold.
The Care Bus will be operating from 1 to 9 p.m., 7 days a week through March 31st. Mike Lang, TBT News.
Minister for FedNor, Patty Hajdu, officially announced over $8 million for Pero today. The money, which was first approved in 2019, has funded initiatives supporting women-led businesses throughout Northern Ontario for the past 3 years and will continue until 2025.
It's very hard for women to have true empowerment if there isn't economic independence and the capacity to be able to chart your own course financially. And so for me, this is pivotal work.
Hajdu was joined by fellow Liberal MP Marcus Pulowski to make the announcement in person today. The bulk of the funding, more than $6 million over 6 years, is supporting Pero's Women's Enterprise Centre, which supports new and growing women-owned businesses across Northern Ontario. Just over $2 million is supporting their Enterprising Indigenous Women program. Pero founder and CEO Rosalind Lockyer says the timing for the funding was ideal, allowing the organization to support women entrepreneurs through the challenges of the pandemic.
2019, the world changed, and it meant that women had to change how they did business. So Pero was needed even more. Our funding, that during one 9-month period during COVID at the worst of times, we put out close to $500,000 to women's businesses in a 9-month period.
So when we have an organization like Pero that does great work with the data to demonstrate just how many women have been successful through this model, how many jobs are created through their either beginning a business or growing their business, that's a true partner at the grassroots level that FedNor needs in order to continue to support economic development in Northern Ontario.
Pero supports women's businesses from the idea phase to international expansion with grants and loans of up to $50,000, as well as mentorship, counseling, workshops, and through peer lending circles. We now turn to the great getaway for the holiday season. The crowds are growing at Pearson Airport as people travel to see loved ones leading up to Christmas. And we are seeing some signs of turbulence. John Musselman has the details.
You might call it the quiet before the storm. Things are running fairly smoothly at Terminal 1 today. Many people getting an early start on the holidays, happy to be avoiding the approaching bad weather expected later this week. Now, there are some delays on the board, but passengers here are taking it in stride.
So far, it's been okay. I know we have delays, so our flight's delayed about 2.5 hours, but it's part of the deal.
Well, I wasn't aware of the storm, but now I am. Yeah, I am relieved I'll be getting away today.
We've got a lot of people that are traveling to go see family. We've got vacations, a lot of sun seekers, people going skiing. So it's just a really busy time in the airport.
Officials with the GTAA say more than 130,000 passengers a day will pass through both terminals at peak periods this week. People are being encouraged to plan ahead.
Well, we've got all hands on deck, and we've been really working ahead of time. We've been planning for this with the airlines, with all of our airport partners, CBSA, CATSA, everybody has a role to play in this. So we've all been really coming together to try to do what we can to make sure that it is smooth. We know that it wasn't a smooth experience for people in the summer. It's not the same. Things have really improved at the airport. We want people to know that. But because this is going to be a particularly busy week, we still do want people to know that there will be times where they may need to wait. There could be some delays.
And those delays may be connected to other places. Snow is a major problem out west in Vancouver, and it's causing delays here as flights are late departing Vancouver to get to Toronto.
A Thunder Bay activist and volunteer is fighting a Canada Border Service order to go back to Bangladesh by January 1st. Abu Henna Mustafa Kamal says Thunder Bay is his home, and he wants to continue the positive work he started in the city.
I'm hoping that decision maker will let me stay in Thunder Bay and will not force me to go back to Bangladesh. That's my hope and expectation from any decision maker who is watching. and they have the power to fix it, and they will fix it. That's my expectations.
The 23-year-old moved to Thunder Bay in August of 2018 to study computer science at Lakehead University. But due to financial struggles during the pandemic, Kamal's study permit expired in 2021, which meant he could no longer go to school in Canada. Then his application for an open work permit was refused. And in May, the CBSA issued an exclusion order for overstaying his study permit, meaning he now faces a removal order by New Year's Day. Jennifer Dijsvik with the Newcomer Legal Clinic is working to have Kamal's deportation deferred while he awaits a decision from Ottawa on whether he can stay on a temporary resident permit or if his permanent resident pathway application is processed.
We will be arguing that Abu's establishment here in the community and the extraordinary degree to which he's become established in the community and the overwhelming support that he has from people in Thunder Bay, that all of those things disrupting them, causing him to leave Canada, causing him to go through the process of being deported, which is, really difficult, really stressful, really traumatic. That all of those things are irreparable harm.
Obviously, he's a huge volunteer, he's politically engaged, and he has networks of friends and colleagues, and so people care about his outcome. And so that is particularly challenging, I think, for everyone when there's a threat like the removal of someone who's become embedded in part of the community fabric.
Haidu says her office will continue to support and advocate for Kamal during the process. An online petition called Stop Abu's Deportation was launched on December 8th and has almost reached its 2,000 signature goal. Kamal's hearing to stay on humanitarian and compassionate grounds is expected after Christmas, but before January 1st. The Salvation Army is in the final week of their annual Christmas Kettle campaign. So far, the campaign has raised $188,000, but they're still a long way from reaching their goal. The Salvation Army must raise another $72,000 over the next 4 days to reach their ambitious target of $260,000. One of the problems they've faced is the heightened flu season, which has caused many volunteers to cancel their shifts at the last minute. More volunteers are needed to work the kettles across town, including Intercity, the Superstore, the LCBOs, and all 3 Walmarts. Donations can be made until December 24th at 1 p.m. Thunder Bay radio stations Rock 94 and 91.5 CKPR are asking people to vote online for the best decorated houses in the city. The 2 winning homeowners will each receive $500 in cash. The websites for both stations have photos and addresses for around 24 homes, which all feature some impressive Christmas displays. People can vote for their favorites until midnight this Thursday. Rock 94 morning host Kale Wanzik is encouraging people to check out the nominated homes either online or take a drive to see them and then cast their vote.
Submissions ended at midnight on Monday. So now we're asking our listeners to go to rock94.com, vote for their favorite light displays, and the winning address gets $500 just before Christmas. We don't have any Clark Griswold type entries this year. They're pretty tasteful for the holidays, I'd say. So I think there's some pretty creative displays out there. You just got to go to the website to see them for yourself.
And we plan to feature the 2 winning homes on our Friday newscast. The new Cinema 5 skate park had its grand opening for skateboarders this past weekend, and now the BMX riders have had their opening night with their own dedicated days to ride going forward. Mitchell Ringos was down at the skate park last night and brings us that story.
BMX riders were out in numbers at the new Cinema 5 skate park, as everyone with a bike will get to work on their skills with dedicated BMX time on Mondays from 5 to 9 p.m. and Fridays from 4 to 8 p.m. For those without gear, BMX rentals are available as 3Ride Bicycle resides in the space on BMX days. 3Ride owner Brad Scott says it's amazing to be involved in a project like this and says an indoor park has been long overdue in Thunder Bay.
We're kind of, behind the rest of the cities and having something like this for, such a cold climate. We should have had something a long time ago, but it's nice to see it's finally here, and the kids that like to hang out at the skate park in the summer can now hang out here in the cold season.
And with all these amazing obstacles to test their skills on throughout the cold winter months, We talked to some local riders to get their opinion on the new park, including one rider from Edmonton who is passing through the city for the holidays.
Every time I come through, there's usually snow, and you've only had the outdoor park up until now, so it was kind of nice to see that this was popping up and I could stop by on my way through home for the holidays.
But this is going to give everybody an opportunity to learn during the winter time. You know, we're not having to come and get back on our bikes after winter and start basically from a blank slate every summer. So it gives us an opportunity to really improve and hopefully expand the community.
If you ride here all winter long, how good do you think you'll be?
Pretty good.
The Ontario government provided over $58,000 to the new skate park through the Northern Ontario Heritage Fund. The founder and executive director of Cinema 5 Skate Park and the Female Border Coalition, Vanessa Bowles, says that funding was essential in getting the facility up and running.
And that money, I mean, first of all, having this space, but then having a safe space for youth. Our goal is to break cycles of poverty and addictions in Thunder Bay by giving youth a safe space to be and do their thing and build their self-confidence and self-esteem here.
And the park isn't just for the winter months, as it will be open year-round to all Thunder Bay residents. Mitchell Ringos, TBT News.
The popular game show Jeopardy has a new three-time champion who was born and raised in Thunder Bay. Ray Lalonde won his first competition last Thursday and followed that up with victories on Friday and Monday. During last night's episode, Lalonde spoke with host Ken Jennings about his twin brother Ron, who is also trying to be a contestant.
Ray Lalonde is a scenic artist from Toronto and not the only member of your family who's recently been auditioning for Jeopardy, right?
My identical twin brother is in the process of auditioning for Jeopardy right now, so there's a chance to be seeing this face again and again. Hopefully I'm going to set the bar a little high for him, but we'll see what happens.
Have you guys considered just swapping in and out during your run without telling us?
How do you know we're not?
The Hillcrest High School graduate had to wait over a year before getting the phone call he was hoping for. The shows he took part in were recorded back in October. Lalonde moved from Thunder Bay to Toronto in 1981 to attend university and still lives there working as a scenic artist in the entertainment industry. Lalonde still has strong connections to Thunder Bay as he has a sister and cousins living here. Lalonde says his experience on Jeopardy has been thrilling so far and he's enjoyed getting to know all the people who work for the show. He kept with the winning streak going last night despite missing the final Jeopardy question about a type of candy.
Did he think of Milk Duds? No, gummy bears. So it depends on how big the wager is. He loses $7,400, taking him down to $24,200. You're a three-day champion with a total of $84,800. Congratulations.
And we'll have more on that on the late edition at 11. A Thunder Bay woman is celebrating a huge lottery win. Margot Pilipchuk took home $2.5 million in the October 26 Lotto 649 Classic jackpot. Pilipchuk's ticket was one of two that shared the $5 million top prize. She says she just recently started playing the lottery more often and mainly Lotto 649. She says when she compared her numbers to the winning numbers, she was stunned and said to her husband, Ron, that can't be right. Pilipchuk plans to support some charities, travel, and help her family with her winnings once it all sinks in. The winning ticket was purchased at a Shell station on Red River Road. Well, Mitch, two very lucky winners. I'm hoping some of that money comes my way, maybe.
That would be great. And be a lot better news than the temperatures we saw today, because unlike a happy day of winning, cold temperatures here in Thunder Bay, along with plenty of snow, driving conditions were not good this morning and continuing throughout the day. Started a little bit warmer at -11, feeling like -14, but when that northwest wind started making its way in up to 30 kilometers an hour, temperature dropping down to -15, feeling like -24. Also, like we said, plenty of snow. Now, as we head out west in Ontario, there's only one place in all of Ontario that has an extreme cold warning, and that is Fort Frances heading into tonight. They could see wind chills down to -40. Now, the rest of the province also very cold, down to -20 in Kenora and Dryden. They're going to see similar wind chills, but no extreme cold warnings. Now, as we head farther northwest, even colder in Red Lake at -21. The snow that we saw throughout the day in the region planning to take a break, just some cloudy cloudy skies over there, while farther northeast, the temperature a little bit warmer, -18 in Armstrong, -17 over in Greenstone. They also saw snow that is at the moment out of the area, while Sault Ste. Marie still cloudy, could see some more flurries tonight, down to -7. Now, tonight here in Thunder Bay, no extreme cold warning at the moment, but it is going to drop down to -24, feeling more like -30. The snow we're seeing at the moment is expecting to head out with just some partly cloudy skies on the way. But as for the west wind, that's going to pick up slightly to around 37 kilometers an hour. And if you thought this was cold, a bit later we're going to head out west to give you some information as extreme cold warnings throughout Canada. And Riley, I hear you have some info on that.
Absolutely, Mitch. Just as you mentioned, Environment Canada has issued an extreme cold warning for very much more west of us, with temperatures reaching -40 or colder. We'll have those details for you when we come back.
Things like frostbite and also hypothermia are concerns when the temperature and the wind chill factor drop that low.